Oh, then you just got ready? Oh,
I'll check, maybe they're under that side here. They're out here.
Okay, at 6:30, we'll call a meeting to order, start with roll call. Councilperson Holthouse. Here. Councilperson Bidwell. Here. Councilperson Basky.
Here.
Councilperson Huber. Here. And one absent. Stand and say the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I would like to amend the agenda to add to new business, consider resolution 2025-125 to file plans for specifications, form of contract, and opinion of probable construction costs. We need to set or amend the date of our public hearing with our change to our regular meeting in July.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve the consent agenda with the exception that Councilperson Basky added in there. We'll vote. Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
And Councilperson Basky.
Yes.
I'll move on to the public hearing. Public hearing on budget amendment number 2 for fiscal year 2025.
I will move to go into public hearing.
I'll second.
Been moved and second to go into the public hearing. We'll vote. Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Basky.
Yes.
Have you had any comments or whatever?
I have, but I don't know if I would call those, they were comments, but they were questions answered. So those came in via email, and I believe there was a thorough response with both follow-ups, and I think I included you all on that. Other than that, no additional phone calls or emails.
Okay. We have 2 people signed in for the comment section on the public hearing. Sherry Damon.
I just want to remind the city council that taxpayers' money is not free money to just spend frivolously. I was looking at some of the things like a recreational trail at $1.9 million or whatever it was. That's a lot of money. And I think that also some of this extra tax money could go for a surplus and be saved, just like any household budget would do. So that when we have a $4 million water tank that's needed, that could be funded into that. I want to improve the aesthetics of Urbana. I live here, I'm proud of my town, but I think we have to do it responsibly too. And so I would hope that our council will take into consideration, because all our bills are going up. Our paychecks are only going up 3%. At least my husband's paycheck is only going up 3%. My water bill's gone up way more than that. My taxes have gone up way more than that. So there's an unbalance. I would like to someday get ahead too. However, every time we seem to have a little bit of a chance to get ahead, all that extra money goes back to more bills, goes back to the water, goes back to the electricity, it goes back to taxes, higher taxes. We are Benton County, we are a small little county in Iowa, and out of the 99 counties, we are the 20th highest taxes in the state. And I don't see our tax monies hard at work. Our roads stink, they need to be improved, there's other things that could be improved on. And I just don't think that as a county, starting at the city level, our government is doing a good job in using that money responsibly. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sally, is that, I don't know, how do you pronounce your last name, Sally?
Hilton.
Hilton, okay, thank you.
I'm kind of new to these meetings, but I read this agenda here, and, where is this recreational trail at? That we want to spend $1.9 million on? I think something like that, being such a high dollar amount, should be put to vote on in the fall. Library, I was not for the library to begin with. We have a library in Center Point, we have a library in Milton. So, and then the $30,000 for streetlights, is that repair streetlights? Is that adding more streetlights? What's that for? And, of course, the water bill. I mean, I want good water, so we have to improve our water, but, again, some of this stuff, what are we doing? As Sherry said, are we gonna budget our own households like this? Probably not. If you don't have a $1.9 million to spend on a recreational trail, then you don't spend that money. So I think you guys need to think about how you're spending some of our tax dollar money.
Okay, thank you.
I think we can address the trail. That's not a $1.1 million spend. That's just merely applying for a grant, a matching grant, I believe is what it is.
Actually, it's not even a matching grant. So the $1.9 million is a trail grant that goes from Meadowview Drive and brings the trail into town here to the trail connection, right out here on Sunset, yeah. The match for the city is a proposed 25% of the 1.9 million, which would be about $418,000. Of the $418,000 that the city would be responsible for, the city is then applying for an additional grant through the ECOG dollars that could potentially bring in $400,000 from that region. So for the city to continue to apply for a grant that they've applied for, this is actually the third year that we've applied for it. And I do believe that, I'm hoping that the city will get this grant where it could be a $1.9 million project that the city could pay potentially less than $200,000 for. And it does add value to our city. It does add value to our neighboring towns that are actually also requesting that we next year go in on a grant together to connect Vinton, Shellsburg areas to the trail here, because trail connection in Iowa is actually a very big thing, which is why dollars are being put toward that transportation mobility. Ryan, is there anything that you would like to add to that based on the conversations that we've been having with DOT and ECOG? So it's actually not a full $1.9 million expenditure of taxpayer dollars. We're looking at a grant, and then potentially for the additional $400,000 that the city would be responsible for. We're actually looking at, we actually will be applying for an additional grant and asking for that full funding through the additional grant, even though we only know that the second grant has about $400,000 that's available. So we hope to get that one as well.
Okay.
Do you want me to address $30,000 for streetlights? I mean, I don't really know what to say to that other than our utility bill is about $27,000, $30,000 for street lighting. I think that's just a cost that comes with having a city, so I don't know how we would cut something like our streetlights, nor do I believe that would be fiscally responsible.
Is that adding or replacing bulbs or what is?
Paying the light bills. Paying the
That's
light bills.
That's
just
just to turn the lights on and to have our bill sent to us.
Each street lamp is metered, they're charged that way.
And this
Also,
is
yeah,
in town, it's Hutton Drive, it's anywhere within the city limits, so, was there, did somebody else have another one or another question that was specific to the budget? And I didn't capture it,
Just the light.
sorry.
Just the library, I mean, another $105,000 for the library.
And that, yeah, wasn't that voted no by the people?
So, two
What
things
is that
there.
for?
The budget for the library is $75,000. This year, I didn't check right before I came in. I think it was 75 or 78,000. During, I think it was February, the city did take dollars from a bank account that's actually under the city's bank account, and we transferred $27,000 from that bank account to close the bank account, which those dollars actually belong to the library or friends to the library, so it was actually their dollars anyway. So I'm not actually sure where the $105,000 is that you're addressing, but those two things, a budget for the library, and the transfer of dollars that actually belong to the library to begin with. And then, what was your second part about the library?
The levy.
The levy. So I was not here for the levy, but I'm going to recall what I remember from the levy. So the levy was not asking taxpayers or the city of Urbana if you want a library. What the levy was asking for is if you were willing to pay a portion of your taxpayer dollars, which was, does somebody remember exactly what it was?
It's 27 cents per 1,000 or something.
27 cents per 1,000. So the library levy was actually asking, not if everyone in town wanted a library, but if you would take part of your taxpayer dollars and we would levy that toward the library. So, so I believe those are two separate things. And I would also put this out here again, our library right now is extremely successful. There is high traffic at the library. And we also had record numbers of parents, young children, and young teens, but also adults into the library just this summer, which goes to, I believe, the director doing an excellent job with getting that up and running, and also the Friends of the Library and the library board. So I understand respectfully that some people do not want a library, but there are quite a few people, I believe, in Urbana that do want a library. So the budget I can address, those numbers are not correct. I'm not sure where it came from, and if you want something very specific, exact, I can get you a printout before the meeting or after the meeting.
money going to the library though?
The 75,000, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, those are,
I think there's some confusion, this public hearing for the amendment, and I think you're
yes,
saying.
the total budget.
You're saying the fiscal year 26 budget numbers is what you're referring to, so there might be just a little bit of overlap or disconnect on what.
Do the city lights have quote unquote LEDs that are supposed to be more efficient? Or are they just regular bulbs? I mean, I get it costs a lot of money to run streetlights all night long, but I just wondered if that is the most efficient way to do it.
I think all the new ones were,
REC replaces them.
the new ones on Sunset and Union.
And I don't know exactly the answer to that. I would have to ask our public works director. I didn't check that before I came to the meeting tonight, so I don't really want to speak to that. So back to the budget amendment for tonight. The amendment for this evening, I shared with you actually in May, and went through all of this with you via email, and then we had to change the date for the public hearing. So, in this budget amendment, I just want to point out again, the public safety, deems a budget amendment for the over expenditure in 2 program areas of, police and emergency management. And the additional one, which we spoke about previously, the track loader that has already been purchased. We did purchase that out of Brett, and I want to simply transfer that expenditure so that it's in the capital project account, very similar to in the past that the dump truck was actually considered capital. I want to keep that as a capital. So although the expended has already taken place, the capital project did not have that in the line item budget, which is why that needs the budget amendment for that area.
Okay.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Then moved and second to close the public hearing. Any more discussion on that? Now we'll vote. Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Consider resolution 2025-122 budget amendment for item number 2 for fiscal year 2025.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2025-122.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve resolution 2025-122. Any more discussion? Not, we'll vote. Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Old business, consider resolution 2025-107, Benton County Sheriff's Office Mental Health Liaison.
Okay, so while I was gone, Benton County reached back out and there were 2 numbers off by, like, I think it was $15, I'm not quite sure. And the correct amount, I just wanted to bring it back because I didn't want to change the resolution. The correct amount, if the police department were to go active for the mental health liaison, the piece, portion for the Urbana would be $3,485.52, paid quarterly at $871.38. Again, it was one old contract to the newer one that they sent, and I think there was a $15 difference. I think it said $3,385 or something, or 400 and, I don't know. It was like, was it like $15? So I wanted to just bring that back. And I'm sure if somebody looked it up, you'd be able to see which one it was.
So this is something that we'd only pay if we have an.
Correct. And this actually was approved at the last meeting, 5-0, I believe. I don't have that. I should say that.
Yeah.
It was approved at the June 11th meeting, but while I was gone this last week, Benton County reached back out and said that the 2 numbers were off. And so I just wanted to bring that back and note the change in the resolution so that it matched the contract.
I just want to make sure that it's not something we have to do.
Yep, so this is one of the 2 that we already voted on, that it only goes into effect if the police department becomes active during the next fiscal year.
Did you
Correct.
give us the revised resolution?
I thought I did. If not, I can pass you this one. And then the contract, I sat next to it, or behind it, excuse me. And if you want to pass that around.
485.52 is the correct amount.
Yes, the one that's highlighted is the correct amount, the one on the contract is the correct amount, and then the one from the last meeting is the one that was incorrect.
Their error, I would assume.
So, yes and no. They
Like it's in their
sent 2
contract?
contracts. The first contract that they sent to me, I created the applicant, or the resolution, had the first one, and then a second one was sent back to me, and I must not have noticed that they changed it. So the one, of course, that I sent back to them was the one that they first sent to me, and then printed off the new one and found where they're saying that the error
Because we were
was.
initially pushing back on,
Yes,
because we were not active.
right.
Yeah.
Yep, and again, he reached out actually to Ryan while I was gone, and again, they want to meet their deadline, which they said was July 1, to have it filed at the state.
Is that a new resolution or the same number?
It's the same number, and that's why I highlighted, we're just amending that number and revoting.
I'll motion to approve the amendment to resolution 2025-107.
A second.
Been moved and second to approve resolution 2025-107. If no more discussion, we'll vote. Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Holmes.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Bender.
Yes.
New business, consider resolution 2025-126, authorizing application to the Iowa Department of Transportation for the State Recreational Trails Program.
Okay, again, this is the same proposal as previously, for the trail grant, which would be the Meadowview. We did, put that back to the engineer, just had him do an updated cost estimate. So he did do that again. I'm working with the Iowa DOT as well as ECOG on, because they're two separate pots of money. So we are going to submit for the trail grant, and then resubmit the grant again for regional dollars for the remainder that would be the portion that the city would have that 25% share of.
I think this is great. I think if we can get this, it would be amazing, because I've lived out there and I always thought a trail connection would be just amazing for the community, so.
Especially for the kids that
Absolutely.
live out there, that they wanna come to play in the park.
I've seen-
I understand.
I've seen kids on their bike take off Meadowview, go towards the city on the highway, so
Been seeing a lot more bike riders, runners, walkers out there. The other thing, I think we've talked about this before, is just the help with hopefully lowering that speed limit.
We talked about that, yeah. That potentially getting a grant like this would help us, since it is a state grant, that it would lower the speed limit right out of that.
Yeah, because they would have to cross the road there, right? That's why
They would
have
have to
that
cross the 31st Avenue side, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But not, yeah. But we're talking about that as well as part of the proposal that would go on the regional dollar side, as well as in the state, within the state grant side.
I know this was discussed, it's been 15 or 20 years ago, because at one time they was going to put a golf course out there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Talked about putting the trail up to the golf course and go up in Meadowview.
does
Design
Design
Homes.
Homes, do they still own that?
They do.
I wonder if they've done any-
They do, they're not interested in selling it.
Not selling it, but just
Oh,
helping push towards
Oh.
something, like, I think that would be a plus for their, I don't know, but
yeah. Yeah, I do believe third time's a charm, so I think applying for it for the third time is good. I also think, since you brought up about this trail grant connection, but also the schools, the next potential big sidewalk project that's in our capital improvement plan is the kind of like a safe routes to school from Endeavor to Ash Avenue on South Street. And potentially this could impact that grant writing piece as well. So I think there's a lot of potential here for those two areas.
That's,
And they no longer call it a safe routes to school. The funding has changed at the state level, but everybody knows what they're talking about when we talk about the safe routes.
there's a lot of kids on that street.
South, or,
Going east and west
Oh.
on South Street?
yeah,
Okay,
A motion to approve the 2025-126.
Second.
been moved and second to approve resolution 2025-126. If there's no more discussion, we'll vote. Councilperson Huber,
yes.
Councilperson Vasky,
Yes.
Councilperson Holhoff,
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Item B, consider resolution 2025-127 to set a date for public hearing on ordinance 992, chapter 92 in the water rate.
Just so I don't get out of order, are you guys okay if we go to the 2025-125, which would be setting the public hearing for Big Miller that Amanda proposed? Can we do that one before we do this, so I don't forget it?
Which one are you on, item C?
So, no, the one that Amanda added, at
Oh,
our
okay.
last meeting.
125.
Yep, June 11th, we set the public hearing for the Big Miller overlay project for July 9th. Now that the regular council meeting has changed in July to be July 16th, we need to just reset that public hearing so that the public knows that that would be held on Wednesday, July 16th.
Okay.
And it's 2025-125 is the
Right.
resolution number. And I, of course, would propose, as the resolution states, that the public hearing be Wednesday, July 16th at 6:30 Urbana City Hall Council Chambers.
The bid received date didn't change, right?
Nope, that's staying the same. I believe it's July 3rd at 11. Yep.
Yeah, I'll motion to approve resolution 2025-125 amending
Second,
Been moved and second to approve resolution 2025-125. Any more discussion? Not, we'll vote. Councilperson Vasky,
Yes.
Councilperson Holthoff,
Yes.
Councilperson Huber,
yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
the, yes.
Now we'll go to item B,
Yes.
resolution 2025-127.
Okay, so I would, after last month's meeting about the water rates discussion, 2025-127 is simply to set a date for a public hearing on ordinance chapter 92 water rates. Per that discussion, I've also included the draft of ordinance 992, which would show the reflection of our conversation. So before you agree on the public hearing, I just want to go ahead and, if you would, take a look at that draft of the ordinance 992. The 5% increase would be from $19.17 to $24.15.
That can't be.
Nope, that can't be right. Sorry, see, once I said it out loud. So 1917,
Because we're at
5%, yeah.
We're at 23 something. right
Yep,
now.
yep, yep. Sorry,
19 is where we started initially.
1917 times. That's actually supposed to be $20.13. No? Pretty sure.
23 something. 22 or 23 something.
Apparently I can't do math.
This is old, that's the one.
That's.
Is that the,
The
oh,
1917 is the wrong
That's
number.
an old
That's
number.
an old.
oh, I took it off the wrong one. I see. Hold on. I brought my water memo here, hold on.
Should have been a total of like $1.55 or like
Yeah, I
that,
think that was something like that,
right?
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So we went from 23 to the 24.15. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had the wrong chart, 2014. So then 5% on 2015. Did anybody already do that for me? 24.15 times. Okay, so is that the 25.36? Did anybody else do that, Craig? I'll read
The
out.
2415 is right.
I'm confused, yeah.
Yeah, I,
Right.
yeah,
The
I thought-
23 should be.
The first number is just wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
so you're saying my
1917.
straight through number,
Yeah, it's the wrong number.
Your strength number is the
oh.
very initial.
Oh my goodness,
place
you
where we
guys.
started.
It's right here on this chart next to me. Okay, sorry. So yes, so you're saying the minimum bill prior to this is the 23.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that 5% increase takes it to the 24.15.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. 23. Okay, so then my next one is also the wrong chart. So it should be the 960 going to 1008, correct?
Yeah, that's not right.
For 5% increase and then $10, no change. See, good thing I had you guys look at that. Okay, I was looking at the other chart. Okay, and then I did,
So we're just setting the public hearing.
right, we're just setting the public hearing, but I wanted you to look at that first because that draft, when we set the public hearing, then will also get published for people to see. Okay, so again, I would propose that Wednesday, July 16th, another 6:30 public hearing would be for the water rates.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-127.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve resolution 2025-127. Any more discussion? Now we'll vote. Councilperson Holhouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Bennett.
Yes.
Item C, consider resolution 2025-129 establishing salary and wages for non-bargaining unit professional and administrative employees for fiscal year 26.
Okay, so the previous, check my numbers. I thought I did twice, but the previous, June 11th, we approved the Teamster salary wage benefits. And this one would be for the non-bargaining unit, which would include city administrator, deputy clerk, building inspector, and library director. And then, of course, Exhibit A should have those correct 3% increases.
So my, I'll say concern, with respect to the deputy clerk. So this isn't a comment on his performance, but I would not have expected a raise 2 months into his
Yes.
start date, so.
Okay, we did kind of talk about that, but I didn't remember whether or not we discussed that. I think Ryan said he was remembering that that might have been discussed, so I was not sure where we landed with that. I couldn't remember.
I don't remember that, but you could refresh my memory.
I thought we had,
Oh, did we? Okay.
yeah.
That we had discussed.
No, to not
To not,
do it
okay.
this time around.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, the
that was,
opposite
that
way
was
of
my
looking at it, yeah.
understanding, so, that was my concern when I saw this initially too, is that, again, nothing on your performance or the performance of our deputy city clerk, it just caught me a little off guard, this.
Time served, yeah.
I do think it's something we could evaluate, a year in or whatever. It doesn't have. to
Yeah,
be
so we'll do regular evaluations
Right.
like we do for all staff, so I wouldn't see why we wouldn't discuss it like we do for all employees. And then 3% for city administrator, 3% for library director, and no change for building inspector that was recently appointed.
So, I mean, I'm fine approving resolution 2025 or I'll motion to approve at 129. Just updating deputy clerk to the 24 in 0 cents.
I'll second.
Been moved in second to approve resolution 2025-129. If there's no more discussion, we'll vote. Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Item D, consider resolution 2025-130, first reading of employee handbook and possible action of waiving second and third.
So I believe that I might have put that on the agenda incorrectly for the possible action of waiving. What I really want that to say is that if this is like the first read through, if someone had potential changes that you wanted made or areas that you wanted to go deeper into conversation about and it wasn't done this evening, that it would get brought back for another reading or revisions if you so chose.
I don't feel we've had enough time to review it, honestly. I mean, I just got it last night. I work 10 hours a day. I've got kids. I haven't had time to review it. So,
Yes, and I know like for the majority of it, we did develop a subcommittee to work on that prior to you coming. So I definitely believe that you should have ample amount of time to look at it, which is why I wanted to put something on the agenda that if we wanted to bring it back, give more time to read through it, do a first read through, then we could just table the resolution and then bring back any revisions that you may have for discussion.
Yeah, I think my feeling is, you know, things that two of us here tonight were on the subcommittee, we've had a lot of time to read through it. Being that one of the people who isn't here wasn't even on the subcommittee, I don't think it'd be fair to have that discussion.
Yes. So this was my way of just getting it in front of everyone so that everybody could have the first read through and then come back with your revisions so that it is a public discussion if there's revisions and what those changes would be. So basically moving it out of the subcommittee and then bringing it to the entire council.
The other thing I was thinking was, for our July, I'm assuming you're gonna put it on the July 16th meeting agenda, is it the first time when we discuss it, is it more of like the item is more of a work session and then once and possible consideration of approving resolution 2025-130 employee handbook instead of it being a first reading, a second and a third? Because, I mean, for resolutions, we don't normally do readings of it, but, and that's where I think if we.
And I know when we did like the
Set it
open
to
records
16.
policy, we just kept bringing it back with revisions, so I wasn't sure how you wanted that on the agenda, but yes, I think the more that you guys have time to work through it and dig into it or ask questions or, now that it's out of the subcommittee, I think that's a great idea. And yeah, we can list it as a work session and then possible consideration of 2025-130.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair too. That's a significant
Oh, yeah.
part.
I wasn't sure how do we bring it out of like,
Yeah.
you know, out of the subcommittee now that we've got changes made, but also want to get that moving. So, okay.
Okay, so we'll just have no action on item D for the night then.
Can you go ahead and do a vote to table this then as Amanda, as you guys suggested as a work session? Because I think if we table it, there needs to be a vote, I believe.
I'll make a motion to table, item D, consideration of resolution 2025-130, first reading of employee handbook. Add that to the July 16th regular meeting for a work session with possible approving, of the employee handbook.
second.
Been moved and second to table resolution 2025-130. Any more discussion? Not, we'll vote. Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Second.
Been moved and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It was a long day to eat.
Yeah.
Not bad, yesterday.
Few days.
We built a deck yesterday. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
On the side of the house, stuff was out.
yes.
I just got your
That wipes the person out.